Hey everybody on YouTube, it's me, the Student Witch. Alright, so here we are. I'm in my costume. And yes, this is a legit academic gown. The college I went to had a tradition of all the professors wore these academic gowns. Let me give you a view. Right. So all the professors wore academic gowns when they taught, and the students, if you were inducted into an academic honor society, you went through an official ceremony where someone gowned you, so someone put the gown on you, usually an older student. That gave you the right to wear the gown in class. So yes, I did wear this in class. You didn't have to wear it, but it's kind of cool. Very Harry Potter, very British. So that's why I have this gown, and it's just perfect because this is my very first adult Halloween costume party, and I'm almost 28, and that's really sad. But since I've been in school, either college or grad school forever, I always had either a paper to do or I just never went out. So my dear friend invited me out to a costume party. She's going to be Frida Kahlo. And I'm going to be a student witch. I'm going to be myself. It's kind of like, you know, staying in the broom closet, but being able to like peek my head out a little. So I got this cute little hat thing. Has like little bats on top. It's a little witch's hat. I got that at CVS. And I also got this plastic cauldron. So this is going to be my purse for the evening. I have some stuff in there I need to show you guys. And yeah, another really cool thing I'm going to do before I go to that costume party is, and I'm looking at my computer over here, the, what's the name of this organization? Boston Pagan Central, which is, I guess, a pagan network in Boston. They are hosting, or actually the Cornucopia Collective, I think centered in Cambridge, Massachusetts, down the street from me. They are hosting a charity psychic fair and an open Samhain ritual, and I'm really excited about this. First of all, it's a charity psychic fair. So they're going to have psychics there's going to be tarot readers, psychics, and people doing astrology. And all proceeds for the readings that you get go towards a fund to help rebuild a lot of the black churches that were burnt in the South. There's been a lot of suspected arson, race hatred, arson. So a lot of black churches have been burnt. So the proceeds from the psychic fair and from the raffle tickets and the food concession stands and stuff that they're going to have, all the proceeds are going to go towards a fund to help rebuild those churches. So I'm really excited about contributing to that and getting a reading done. And I'm also excited because this is going to be my first pagan public event. This is going to be the first time I'm going to see a real-life pagan community, this Boston Pagan Collective and the Cornucopia Collective. I'm really excited because I'm beginning to feel the need for community, like flesh community. Because the witchy community on YouTube is awesome. It was the first place I went, and it's awesome, but I don't know anyone physically in the flesh, you know what I mean? Like someone that I could text and meet up with them at a bar and have a beer and talk about something, you know? So I'm beginning to feel that need, and this might be my first attempt to make connections with people in the Boston area, people I can talk to, like-minded people. And their open Samhain ritual would be the last aspect of this that I'm really excited about. I've never celebrated a ritual with other people. Well, scratch that. In July, one of the supermoons in July, my husband and I did a little ritual together. But besides my husband, that one time, I've never been in a group setting doing ritual. And I think Samhain, because, you know, it's the witch's new year for a lot of people, not everybody, but for a lot of people, it's in the northern hemisphere, it's a time to honor the dead and connect with your ancestors and communicate with them and things like that. So I'm really excited about that, just feeling the energy of a group, seeing what that's like. I'm not saying that I'm going to join a coven or anything. That's not me. Believe me, I'm never going to join a coven. But yeah, just to see how this group thing works and feel the energies of it, that's really cool. And it's going to be a really awesome way to start off Samhain time. So, as far as my ritual goes, I'm going to do that tomorrow night at midnight. And I've actually been able to buy some new things that I'm going to use during the ritual. For one thing, I bought these herbs. This is mugwort, and this is wormwood. And I'm going to burn them on a charcoal disc in this. This is new. This is for burning incense and resins. And the type of charcoal I got, I think it's actually a wood-based charcoal. It's by the Triloka Botanicals dupe coals. So this isn't actually based on coal or carbon or whatever. Well, all life is based on carbon. But anyway, this is more of a wood-based. It says native Himalayan dupe coals are made of various herbs and woods pressed into a convenient strip of 6 coals. So I just thought I'd try these, plus they're a little cheaper than the regular charcoal discs that they sell. And this is what they look like. I've already used a few. Sorry if the lighting sucks. But you just break off a chunk, you light it, you wait till it's set, and then you put your herbs and resins in. So the resins I got, and this is my first time buying resin, I got 2. I got copal, or copal, which I've never smelled before. And as soon as I smelled it for the first time, it was just amazing. The smoke is beautiful. I got this because I was watching Joey Morris's I Can't Witch Without series, and she talks about copal. I get why she's drawn to it. So this is the first resin I got. Oops, where can I put this? Put it here. And then just frankincense and myrrh, my favorite. So, and these are both the same brand. What does it say? Fred Souls Frankincense and Myrrh Resin, all natural resin, and I think this is made in New Mexico. So I don't know if you can see that. So that's the brand of the resin I got. So yeah, I'm gonna burn these herbs because these are herbs. I know they're related, the Artemisia genus, family, I can't remember. They're related. Wormwood and mugwort. And I know mugwort is used to open up that third eye and dream work and blah blah blah. But I associate both with tapping into alternative perspectives. I have, in the past, I have had wormwood tea, And wormwood tea, it's very bitter and gross. But it does have some slight effects on your perceptions, like lights and colors look differently. I'm just gonna be upfront. I am open to alternative experiences caused by entheogens or substances like herbs and plants and mushrooms. I've mentioned before in my video about the lunar eclipse, I have taken LSD and mushrooms before. I haven't done that in a very long time. I believe that these herbs and plants and substances can be very powerful tools, and because they are powerful tools, they need to be respected and not abused. I am also a proponent of using marijuana. I do occasionally smoke marijuana. I have no qualms with it. And if anybody wants to call me a drug addict because I occasionally smoke marijuana, then they must also be calling anyone they see drinking a beer an alcoholic. Any substance or any activity can become addictive. There are people addicted to sex. There are people addicted to shopping. There are people addicted to weed. There are people addicted to food. And there are people addicted to heroin and cocaine and alcohol. And my view of addiction is that it has more to do with that person's environment and environmental factors than it does with brain chemistry or even some sort of character flaw. And I'm probably gonna include a really good article below in the description box talking about the environmental factors of addiction and how many popular views of addiction completely omit that fact or omit that factor. It's highly understudied. So it critiques the right-wing view that addiction is just a character flaw, basically, in that person. That person is lazy. They don't want to handle reality. They don't want to be productive members of society, so they just become addicted to whatever. That's more of the right-wing view. The left-wing view is that that person is the victim of their own brain chemistry. They become chemically addictive. And yes, there will be a mixture of both factors depending on the case. Like, yes, of course, taking something like heroin is going to change your brain chemistry. But this article was arguing, and I agree, that independent of any character flaws in that person or independent of any issues with brain chemistry, most cases of addiction have to do with that person's environment. Were they abused? Were they sexually abused? Were they isolated and poor? Did they have access to education? Do they have access to health care? It's those environmental factors that drive people to addiction for whatever reason, you know? So anyway, I am pro-legalizing marijuana, 100% at the federal level, and this is something I really am passionate about because one of my family members has bipolar, and she works for the Department of Agriculture. She works for the government. Even if she lived in a state like Colorado, where at the state level, marijuana is legal, completely legal for recreational use, she could not take it for medicinal use to help her manage her bipolar because at the federal level, it's still illegal. And she is a federal employee. That's fucked up. Because she's recently had a lot of issues with her medication. She can't find a medication that's working for her. So she thinks that, she told me, she's never tried marijuana before, but she told me, you know, once they legalize it, I'm going to be the first in line because I think from my research, it could really help me. That's what she told me. So I'm not saying like stop taking your medications and just smoke weed or whatever. Of course, you have to do your own research and work with your psychiatrists and psychologists and stuff. But it has been proven that weed has medical benefits for people who have psychological problems like bipolar or depression, but also people who have physical illness, chronic pain, cancer, HIV. Like, a lot of people could benefit from its legalization, and even recreational use. It's not chemically addictive, but like I said before, human beings, if we live in a sickened society and we come from a sick environment, we can become addicted to anything. So I am pro legalization at the federal level for recreational use. I think it should be taxed. Tax the fuck out of it. I don't care. 40% even. I would pay it, knowing that my tax dollars are benefiting my local community, and also knowing that I can enjoy a hit of weed before going to bed without worrying about losing my job or ruining my reputation or being thrown in jail. And that's another aspect about marijuana. In the South, I live in Massachusetts now, but I grew up in Kentucky, I lived in Tennessee for 4 years, and I lived in Georgia for 3 years. I know the South. And I know the laws are a lot stricter in the South, things are more conservative, but also marijuana has been used as an excuse by the police to racially profile and target certain communities, like the Black community, like the Hispanic community, like poor people. And with the enormity of this monstrous prison industrial complex, you have to wonder who is profiting from these prohibition laws that are used to target certain populations and throw them in jail disproportionately compared to whites. I actually think that all drugs should be decriminalized. That doesn't mean legalized, it's decriminalized. And that instead of throwing money into the prison industrial complex, the government should actually focus more on rehabilitation. And in the article that I'm going to include below, they give the case of Portugal and the amazing results that Portugal saw once the government switched from prisons to rehab. Like, it made a huge impact on decreasing the number of heroin addicts in that country by a lot. So anyway, let me get back to Halloween. And let me get back to Rantover. So let me get back to my plans for Samhain. I haven't had time to draft my ritual yet. I know it's going to be taking place at midnight, the midnight of Samhain. I know I will be attempting to make the spirits of my ancestors feel welcome by giving them offerings of wine and beer. I will kind of leave the floor open for communication if that's what they want. I know I'm going to be doing some work with tarot. I'm going to have my candles lit. I'm going to be burning my mugwort and wormwood incense with the resins that I got. I might even make some wormwood tea for divination work, and I might even include using marijuana in that. I'm going to be straight up. Just as a way to access those alternative realities, being able to perceive them. So Speaking of tarot, this is something that I bought myself today because I got paid today. I went to the 7 Stars bookshop, which is the occult, pagan, esoteric bookshop in Cambridge. And the more and more I work with tarot, the more I realize that that is, as of yet, that is the divination system for me. That it just speaks to me. And the Rider-Waite-Smith images, the classic tarot, it's just, the connection is there with me. So I need to start seriously studying it. So I picked up a book. It's called Gnostic Tarot, Mandalas for Spiritual Transformation by Lee Irwin. And this kind of connects to the book that I'm currently reading about Christian Gnosticism. So I really like how this book is put together. I just read a few pages in the store, and let me just tell you the basic structure of the book. So the first chapter is like an introduction to tarot itself, its history, and a Gnostic way to read tarot and what Gnosticism is, blah, blah, blah. Then the second chapter talks about the six elements, earth, water, air, fire, sky, and spirit, and the elemental suits. And then chapter 3 is the method and interpretation. It talks about different spreads, and in the back of the book it includes different spreads. Let me get back there. Chapter 4, the 4 suits. So it breaks down each of the 4 suits and talks about the aces, the 2s, the 3s, and the 4s. And then the next chapter talks about the 5s through the 10s. Chapter 6 talks about the inner court cards of the minor arcana. Chapter 7 is the major arcana. Chapter 8 continues with the major arcana. And chapter 9 too. And then includes a bibliography, index, and about the author. So I really like the layout of the book. I really love the idea of a Gnostic reading. I'm just dipping my toes into the idea of Gnosticism, whether it's pagan Gnosticism, Christian Gnosticism, Jewish Gnosticism, or like the Kabbalah, or even Islamic Gnosticism. That would be really interesting to research too. But anyway, I decided to treat myself to this book, and I needed it. And once I work my way through it, I'm going to put up a review. That might take several months because I'm busy with classes and shit. And I'm also going to put up a review once I'm done with that Jesus and the Lost Goddess book on Christian Gnosticism. So yeah, sorry for the rant on marijuana. I'll post a video post-Samhain. So this is before Samhain. And then I'm going to put up a video probably Sunday post-Samhain. So those are my plans so far. I'm really super excited. Samhain last year was actually the very first ritual I've ever done. So this is kind of like, you know, it's the witch's new year, but it's also my witchy anniversary. So it's kind of fitting that I am a student witch for Halloween. I hope everybody has a very blessed Samhain, and share your experiences, your thoughts, your plans, your rituals. It's just great. So thanks for watching. Bye everybody.